What is wrong with Apple? Apple invested $20 billion over the last 4 years on AI. Then they took all that investment, flushed it down the toilet, and decided, screw it, let's just pay Google $1 billion per year instead. The surrender was so humiliating that Apple literally begged Google to keep it secret. But then, Apple held an emergency board meeting, gathered their brightest minds, and announced their latest groundbreaking innovation to save the company. And they announced, a sock. They made a sock for your iPhone. I'm not even kidding. The trillion-dollar company just became your grandmother who knits phone cozies. But it gets even worse. This came right as Apple announced the iPhone Air is literally dying. They're slashing production by 1 million units. However, if you get your tech news from memes like I do, you're only seeing the tip of this melting iceberg. There is more to that bourgeois ballsack. And giving Google $1 billion every year might actually be Tim Cook's Godfather move. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Plus, and this is where it gets spicy, Apple might still have a secret plan that can maybe, just maybe, flip the entire table, but they only have one last chance. Trust me, bro, by the end of this video, you'll know if Tim is completely cooked or, again, if we should all shut up and let Tim cook. Get it? Let him cook? Okay, I'll stop. It is November 2025, and you're watching Wiwipedia. Real talk for a second. We just hit more than 40,000 subscribers. The algorithm gods have chosen 40,000 souls to receive my content. You are the chosen ones. I try to read and reply to as many comments as I can, and you have no idea the impact the comment that takes you 30 seconds to write has on me, especially this one that said this. Thank you. You literally made my day. Let's get back to roasting Tim Cook. Okay, that Apple sock, or as Tim Cook calls it with a straight face, the iPhone Pocket, is it really dumb, or am I just too broke to understand? Apple dropped this fashion disaster on a random Sunday in 2 flavors of financial mistake. Short strap for $149 for people who want to waste money responsibly, and long strap for $229 for those who want everyone to know they make poor financial decisions from across the room. The internet's reaction was chef's kiss beautiful. People said it looked like Borat's mankini, someone called it an insanely expensive sock, which is insulting to socks, and others asked if Apple was okay, like genuinely concerned for their mental health. But here comes the plot twist that'll make you question reality. This thing sold out completely in hours. I need you to understand this. Actual humans with functioning brains stood in physical lines in New York City to buy this. And the part that proves we're living in a simulation, the $230 version sold out first. So, how does Apple keep getting away with it most of the time? Notice I said most of the time, and we are about to see why. Apple had 2 magic spells that made everyone lose their minds over a phone sock. And the story behind the first one is actually insane. Flashback to the 1980s. Steve Jobs walks into Sony Japan, sees employees rocking these designer uniforms by Issey Miyake, and immediately thinks, how can I make this about me? So Jobs, because he was Jobs, gets Miyake to personally make him an arsenal of black turtlenecks. The man ordered about 100 of them, saying, and I quote, enough to last me the rest of my life. At age like milk, those turtlenecks became the most famous outfit in tech, so when Apple slaps Issey Miyake's name on a phone sock, they're not selling you mesh, they're selling you a piece of Steve Jobs' ghost for $230. But here's the magic spell number 2, what I call the Labubu effect. This phone sock is available in exactly 1 store in all of the United States. 10 stores worldwide total, and 60% of them are in Asia, where people actually understand fashion apparently. This is manufactured FOMO injected directly into your veins. Apple's been doing this forever. The $19 cloth to clean your screen, the $700 Mac Pro wheels, the $999 monitor stand, and people fall for it every single time. But here's where Apple's magic tricks stop working. Apple doesn't always get away with it. The iPhone Air, to absolutely no one's surprise, except Tim Cook apparently, is failing miserably. Apple just announced they're cutting production by 80%. 80! Let me put that in simple terms. It's like you ordered 10 pizzas for a party, then realize nobody's coming, so you cancel 8 of them. That's not adjusting expectations, that's admitting nobody likes you. And the humiliation doesn't stop there. The next-gen iPhone Air has been straight up canceled from the 2026 lineup. It's probably heading straight to Apple's graveyard to join the iPhone Mini and iPhone Plus. But somehow, this isn't even Apple's most embarrassing fail this year. Apple is finally surrendering and moving on from their denial phase. After Apple Intelligence turned out to have everything but intelligence, Apple did the unthinkable. They admitted defeat. Let's talk about Siri for a second. It's remained essentially unchanged since 2011. It's so broken and unreliable that asking it for the weather is a 50-50 chance of getting either the forecast or a web search for leather. So Apple's brilliant solution? Pay Google $1 billion every single year to use their Gemini AI to completely rebuild Siri from scratch. Launching March 2026, allegedly, they're literally renting intelligence from their biggest competitor. That's the equivalent of McDonald's asking Burger King to make their Big Macs, but Wiwi. Why Google exactly? Excellent question, my intellectually superior and undoubtedly good-looking viewer. Apple speed dated everyone. OpenAI, Anthropic, probably even DM'd Meta at 3 a.m. And they picked Google because it was the cheapest option. Anthropic wanted $1.5 billion. Apple saved $500 million by going with Google. And what will they do with those savings? Probably develop the iPhone thong for the iPhone 18, a designer piece to elegantly cover your USB-C port from the creepy cables. I see you have another question, but Apple is worth $3 trillion. Why can't they build their own AI? Beautiful question, and the answer is deliciously ironic. Apple doesn't collect data. They're the Virgin of tech companies, while everyone else is getting freaky with your information. Their entire business model is built on privacy. What happens on your iPhone stays on your iPhone. Meanwhile, Google sees everything, including your 3 a.m. search history that would make your therapist need therapy. They probably know you're watching this video right now. Hi, Google. Then, they feed all that juicy data to their AI models. Plus, AI engineers are abandoning Apple like it's a burning building. Meta's offering them $30 to $40 million per year. Imagine choosing between $5 million at Apple or $40 million at Meta. That's not a choice, that's an IQ test. However, if we look at it from another angle and squint really hard and take whatever Tim Cook is smoking, this deal actually makes sense. Here's the tea. Google already pays Apple around $20 billion per year just to be the default search engine on Safari. So, taking a $1 billion from that money, which is literally 0.00003% of their market cap, is not that bad. They probably spend more on toilet paper for Apple Park. Apple burned $20 billion and ended up with a pathetic 150 billion parameter model. And with this deal, they're getting Google's 1.2 trillion parameters model. That's 8 times bigger. Apple brought a butter knife to a nuclear war. But what about privacy? Apple claims they've got it covered. Supposedly, Gemini runs on Apple's private cloud servers, not Google's sketchy basement. Google can't see your Siri requests. If you believe that, I have an iPhone thong to sell you. But here's the real kick in the teeth. Apple loses everything they stood for. No more vertical integration. No more we control everything. They're now Google's AI sugar baby, completely dependent on Daddy Google for intelligence. But guys, I don't know if you see it, but there's a massive irony staring us in the face. Ready? Apple refused to collect user data for years, but by being the good guy and not collecting data, they had nothing to train their AI on. Meanwhile, Google was hoovering up everything, so now Apple is paying $1 billion per year to Google for AI that was trained on the data Apple refused to collect. It's like refusing to fish because you're protecting the ocean, then buying fish from the guy who's been dynamiting the reef. Apple is so embarrassed they begged Google to keep quiet. They even refused to say Gemini internally. They call it AFMV10. So, is the Apple magic officially dead? No, not yet at least. Gemini is just a band-aid on a bullet wound. Apple's secretly building their own trillion-parameter model while using Google as training wheels. And Apple is finally entering the foldable phone market in 2026. Yes, that's years behind Samsung. But here's the thing. Samsung did all the failing. Apple just took notes. And now, they enter with mature technology. It's cowardly genius. But wait, there's more. The iPhone 20, Apple's 20th anniversary edition, is supposedly getting a radical redesign. And then there's the Vision Air, supposedly lighter, cheaper, and actually accessible to humans who don't have trust funds. Apple expects to sell 1 million units in 2027, which is either confident or delusional. Will Apple rise from the ashes, or are we watching the world's most expensive funeral? But there's one last move that would save them, with 100% success rate. Hire Wiwi as CEO. Look, I get it sounds crazy, but is it crazier than selling a $230 phone sock? I don't think so. So here's my plan to save Apple, and it includes strategies and product lineups. But my product lineup is where I shine. The iBreak, a phone that doesn't turn on, but it's great for self-defense. Finally, an iPhone that protects you. The iPhone Flip. It doesn't flip, we just flip you off when you buy it. $12.99 for the experience. I scam. It's literally just the box, but what a beautiful box. Minimalist, elegant, empty. $2.99. And my masterpiece, I regret. It's just a mirror for $8.99, so you can look in the mirror and judge yourself after buying our products. Vote for me as Apple CEO and like this video. Each like equals 1 vote. Then comment, Tim is cooked. Let Wiwi cook. Because trust me, bro, with me as CEO, Apple stock might crash, but the memes will be fire. This is Wiwipedia, your future CEO. So peace out, future victims. I mean, valued customers.